Welcome to the One Bloody Take movie podcast, where we go back in time several decades to browse the aisles of your local video store. I'm Paul.
And I'm Russ.
And today we're renting the 1986 movie Maximum Overdrive. So get your popcorn and snow caps ready while we give you our bloody take. Maximum Overdrive. What a movie. Directed by Stephen King, thus making this movie the Mendoza line of Stephen King movies. Everything below this is because the director stunk, and everything above this is because it was an amazing director involved with the movie, but we can get into that.
Yeah.
Got quite a few mid-level stars here. We have Emilio Estevez, who in retrospect is famous, but not nearly as famous as I imagined. Somebody brought up somewhere along the line, like, what's the big Emilio Estevez movies that you want to point to? And the only ones I can point to are ensemble casts at best. Like, he's never even in Mighty Ducks, it's the kids too. Like, he's never the big lead, but I imagine him as a big movie star.
He has less than 50 acting credits.
Yeah, it's weird.
And in 1986, I would not have cared that Emilio Estevez was in this. He would have already been in The Breakfast Club, St. Elmo's Fire.
Right.
And what's the obvious one I'm missing? It just slipped my mind. There was another big one he was in.
Is that too soon for Young Guns?
The Outsiders.
Oh, The Outsiders. He was he was in The Outsiders.
Yeah.
Everybody was in The Outsiders.
But after Young Guns, I would have been like, yes, I want to see,
right.
Like, that would have been the selling point for me after Young Guns.
Right. We have Yeardley Smith, obviously Lisa, and a young never young, but a young Giancarlo Esposito.
I did not recognize him at first.
Now that you said it, I know that it was him, but I would have never guessed it for some reason. But I do want to talk about that scene a little bit later on.
And I think it's funny. I always try to bring in Simpsons references, and we just have a Simpsons voice actress in the movie. So, like, there we go.
My son was watching with me, and he kept, I can't figure out where I know that lady from. I know that lady. And I said, yeah, but you don't have any idea that this is what she looks like.
Yeah.
He goes, what do you mean? I go, you just know the voice. He goes, oh, that's Lisa. I said, that is Lisa. The trailer is perfect. The poster is perfect. That truck, that Jack-in-the-Box face on that truck for a young Paul was nightmare fuel. Absolute nightmare fuel with that truck face. But I loved it. I'm all in on this movie all the way. You got AC/DC, you got the truck face. Everything about this movie is, to me, I probably rate it much higher than it deserves to be rated, but everything about this movie is tremendous. The trailer works, the box cover works, the posters work, that damn truck face works, all of it.
And taking consideration we're children of the 80s, 1986, we're already very familiar with Optimus Prime and Rhino from Mask.
Yeah.
So you show me a cool looking tractor trailer, sold. It does not matter what else is happening. 100% invested in what you want to tell me.
Right.
Now.
Yeah, all the way. Go ahead.
With the trailer.
Yeah.
I did think it was very creative. However, it does then set us up to look at it chronologically, now that we have knowledge of a complete body of work. So basically in the trailer, Stephen King says, a lot of people have directed my novels and stories, and I decided if I want something done right, I have to do it myself.
So this is 86 though, right?
Yes, 86. And he says, it's my first picture as a director, and you know something? I sort of enjoyed it. Not a big selling point there. Sort of enjoyed it. That gave me pause. So what I did is I went back and I looked at all of the Stephen King related movies or TV shows from 86 and before.
Right. I actually jotted down a list as well.
Yeah. If he is telling us that none of these were done properly, in comparison, this movie should be better than a majority of the movies that we have beforehand. So we're going to start with Carrie.
Right.
Is Carrie a better movie? 1976.
It's not even close. Yeah.
It's not even close.
Right.
Salem's Lot TV miniseries, 1979.
Yes, but not by a lot.
Yes, I almost call that one a draw.
Yeah.
I would be just as interested in watching both of them.
Yeah.
This one to me is the most obvious one on here.
Yeah.
Is The Shining better? 1980?
That's not worth a discussion. That's at the
Yeah.
top of this list of all Stephen King movies.
Creepshow, 1982.
Yes and no. Creepshow,
Yeah.
I liked Creepshow. Creepshow is good. Creepshow is a little hit or miss.
I think I look at Creepshow better now than I would have at the time, just because of like the Tales from the Crypt format.
Right.
Which, you know, as a kid, I loved Tales from the Crypt. So then Creepshow to me becomes more interesting.
Yeah.
So I'd probably want to watch Creepshow just a little bit more than I'd want to watch Maximum Overdrive.
Also, you're better in tune with sort of like the sense of humor that it has as you're older.
Yes.
Than when you're a kid watching it. But yeah, Creepshow's better, marginally better. Yeah.
1983 Cujo. Is Cujo a better movie?
Yes.
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 Now, The Dead Zone, I don't really recall much from, so I can't offer my opinion. But that's also 1983. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Yeah, I have. It's on par. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
On par.
Christine,
Far
1983.
Far better.
Better movie. Children of the Corn, 1984.
Better movie.
Firestarter, 1984.
Better movie.
Cat's Eye, 1985.
Better-ish movie.
See, the one thing about Cat's Eye that stands out to me is that troll sucking the breath. So I remember that as a kid. So that had an impact.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like I wasn't checking the floorboards and everything looking for troll holes.
Right.
But you know, and I'm allergic to cats, so I didn't have any protection. Silver Bullet, 1985.
I liked Silver Bullet, but I don't think it was better than Maximum Overdrive.
Okay,
no.
That's fair. And then also the same year, but I think it was released after. I could be wrong. Stand By Me, 1986.
That's
different
an
genre,
entirely different category of movie that is entirely better than Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah. Now, out of everything we just mentioned,
right?
If you look at the IMDb ratings, Maximum Overdrive had the lowest score of them all.
Yeah.
And I understand why, but I do think it's a little unfair. But as we looked at this, it's on par or worse than everything else.
Yeah.
Even though Stephen King is claiming nobody did my movies justice.
So I'd like to take this in two different directions. First of all, this is why I called this movie the Mendoza line. This is the middle point for his movies. But the going theory, the hypothesis is you need a good director for the Stephen King movie to be good. So going through the list of what we've already discussed, Carrie was directed by Brian De Palma, Shining is Kubrick, Christine is John Carpenter, Stand By Me is Rob Reiner, and so is Misery. Misery was also Rob Reiner.
Yeah. I think that was 90.
Yeah, that's afterwards. Yeah. But so from the movie being a movie's perspective, there are much better movies than Maximum Overdrive. But, and I know this came up with The Shining specifically, I don't think I could find a person that says that The Shining is not a great movie. Like it's a great movie. Like it should be even more well regarded than it is, in my opinion. It's a great film as well as being a great movie. But his problem with the movie The Shining, Stephen King being his, was that he felt that it didn't accurately reflect the story that he wrote.
Right.
And so when Stephen King says these other people aren't doing my books justice, that could be his take on that. Is sure, maybe they made a great movie, but they didn't make the movie that represented the book that I wrote. And me making Maximum Overdrive, I'm going to make sure that the story that I told is the story that you see.
Yes.
So
right, I do remember him having issues with The Shining.
Yeah, it even got remade, didn't it? I think it got remade as like a TV miniseries where he thought that it did the story better justice, and you know what? It sucked. So
yeah.
So in that regard, when you have a great director and they take some twists and turns on the story that you've given them, that's probably okay. That probably works out, because there are certain things, and there are just certain things that maybe don't translate as well to the screen, or take too long to develop, or just don't work in the context of what you're trying to make. In Misery, one of his big gripes was, the scene where Kathy Bates puts James Caan's feet in between, put a board in between his feet and breaks his ankles. Mm-hmm. In the book, she cuts his foot off and cauterizes it. So that's obviously a much more terrifying thing, but there's a whole bunch of things that happen in the movie after that become, not that the movie's believable, but less believable if the guy only has one foot.
Yes.
So they opted to do the breaking of the ankle scene so that he could still have something to hobble around on, and that makes sense to me. Sure, it doesn't represent what was in the book. It doesn't stick to your story 100%, but Misery's a hell of a fucking movie, and I'm not going to argue that making those legs like that instead of missing a foot was the better choice.
And even then, I think it's not, well, I hesitate to use this word, it's more relatable to use the board and the hammer.
Yeah.
Because you can feel that pain more. Everybody's been hit by something at some point in time.
Yeah.
So if you translate that little bit of pain to a larger amount of pain, but very few people understand the pain of losing a limb. So you can almost cringe more and, feel it when it happens.
And then on top of that, it changes the type of crazy that you're seeing. So
yeah,
if she cuts his foot off and then cauterizes it like in the book, that's so very planned. But if she just smashes his ankles, that's the kind of thing that you come up with spur of the moment. Oh, I don't like that he got up and ran away. I'm going to break his leg. Not, I have the tools and the equipment here to cut his foot off. And you know what I mean? Like, it changes the level of her lunacy to something more sinister and less just Catwoman. Like old woman with cats. You know what I mean?
It forces you to stay in line as opposed to just being trapped.
Right.
Because you're like, well, she did this to me when I did this. If I do that, what is she going to do to me?
Right.
Not just, hey, she took my foot, so I can't run.
Right. It's a disciplinary action as opposed to being a permanency.
Yes. Now, The Shining, I like that movie so much. I want to say about in my mid-20s, when Shane and I were roommates, I think we watched that movie every day for about a month. Just put it in one day and just kept putting it back in. So out of all the Stephen King movies out there, I mean, and I know it's, sure, okay, yeah, it's The Shining, but I love that film.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's close to a perfect film. Like every aspect of it is just, Kubrick did so well with that. It's above reproach as far as this conversation is concerned. Anyway, now we got to go back to talking about Maximum Overdrive. So this is the story, and I'm not so sure about this, but this is the story of a comet that passes by the Earth, and while Earth is in the tail of the comet, all machinery basically becomes sentient and hates humans. Now, we'll wait till the end, but I have a real problem with what happens in this movie based on this description. But this is what they show you at the beginning before we get our first dose of AC/DC. This is also another side conversation. This is the greatest horror movie soundtrack of all time, right? Like it's not even.
Oh,
there's.
I mean, maybe shocker. Maybe just.
I wrote down two others.
Yeah, that was done with intent, sort of. But yeah, and we talked about this recently too. Like, I feel like metal, hard rock fits this genre perfectly.
Yeah.
And so once you put AC/DC in here, okay, yep, I'm in.
Absolutely.
It's going to hide a lot of flaws you may have.
Yeah.
Because you're feeling good about what you're listening to.
Because you're busy rocking out to the blues from Australia. Yeah, absolutely. The only other two I wrote down that were even close was the Lost Boys soundtrack, which is all
Yeah.
like Echo and the Bunnymen, and
I
then
mean, the saxophone alone is
yeah, and then the Scream soundtrack, but that's a different thing too, because that's just a compilation of other really good songs. So it doesn't count in quite the same way, but this is the greatest movie soundtrack ever. So the movie starts out, and immediately we know something's wrong because the Mac machine is calling people assholes, and so armed with the information that we get at the beginning and this, we know we're in for some kind of weird ride with the machines.
And the marquee on the bank was also scrolling fuck and then you.
Yeah.
Now, knowing what we know that comes next, they're just dicks. Like, it's not even like, you know, because Stephen King is the one that goes to the Mac machine. It's not like he goes up to it and gets electrocuted. It's not like it somehow takes his hand. This machine just wants to let him know he's an asshole.
Yeah.
And doesn't do anything with it. Like, it's comical, but to me, then it does bring up some issues, because it's like, what is the point here and why are you doing this? It's not like they're just killing to kill. It's they're insulting us first before they kill us, which makes it a little different to me.
Well, while they're inside the tail of the comet during this movie, we're never really given any sort of insight into what they're trying to accomplish at all. And
no,
I could make the argument that, like, had the humans been appropriately fearful of the fact that the machines had come to life, nobody would have died in this movie.
Yeah, because they did pick and choose when they decided to kill.
Yeah.
And the biggest insight we get into it is when Bill and Brett are talking and they're speculating. And they say, you know what? I don't think it's a comet. I think it's a broom. And Bill says the comet's being used as a broom, saying, imagine you're an alien race and you're looking for a new place to live, but you come down here and this is a shithole. So you don't want to inherit a shithole. You got to clean it all up.
Right.
And by cleaning it all up, you kill the people. So the comet is the broom coming in to sweep away all the people to make room for the new species. That's the most insight we get to what's happening, other than what they just tell us at the beginning.
And at that point, that's just wild speculation. Like,
yes,
at the minute the machines come to life, especially in 1986, all of your other conspiracy theories and weird shit just becomes obviously true, right? Yeah. Like once, okay, now the trucks drive by themselves and try to kill people. Well, then obviously there's also Sasquatch is real, and every UFO, like, it's got to all be real now that this is real.
Yeah.
So yeah, yep. They speculate once they're maybe right, and then we just move on from it to this weird conflict between man and machine that plays out in several weird and interesting ways. We do see kind of like in this, it's a little montage-ish, but we kind of see that, like, anything that's powered in any kind of way is affected by this. Now, some of the things that were weird were like the sprinklers were affected by it, but those sprinklers weren't like electric sprinklers. Those were just regular old hose sprinklers. So I don't know what was turning them on and off besides human beings.
And like, what are they going to do? Slow down, kid. We're going to get you wet. Then maybe you'll catch cold, and then possibly die from the sickness.
And then he kept turning around, and they would shut off like they were hiding from him.
And I was a little confused about what things they chose to inhabit. So, like you said, the sprinklers, that seems useless.
Yeah.
Why would you take over a sprinkler? It's not like it took over a sprinkler next to an open socket, right, or a downed wire. So, it's not creating a deadly situation. It's just fucking with them.
Yeah.
But when they're playing baseball and the one kid tries to escape, the front brakes on the tire seem to lock up. to throw the kid off. Yet Deke rides his bike away perfectly with no issue. So why does it affect the one kid's bike, but not Deke's bike? All the trucks on the road seem to be affected, but we have two people arrive by car, and those cars aren't affected. And like the bridge can open, but it doesn't affect any of the trucks on the bridge. The best thing to do would have been, if it wants to kill all the people on the bridge, open up the bridge and then just drive the truck straight off. Because unless they become like alive, I would think it doesn't matter if you're sacrificing a vehicle. Every vehicle you sacrifice to kill someone should be worth it, because you should just be able to hop into another vehicle.
Right. Yeah. It's inconsistent.
Yes.
For at the service of the story, right? Like. But the whole story is weird to begin with, because we have to assume this is happening across the world, right? Like this couldn't be localized to North Carolina, either if it's a comet or not. It's not localized. So
there's like radio broadcasts to tell you it's happening here, it's happening here, it's happening here.
Yeah. So I am not even clear as to why they've picked this particular gas station. Like this gas station, the trucks seem to have decided that this is some kind of headquarters, ground zero, whatever you want to call it. They all congress there, and then even they bring their little military guy to talk to the humans while they're there. But there's no like clear-cut reason that Bubba's gas station should be the center of this weird universe that we're existing in. And there's nothing discussed about that either.
Yeah. And even if you want to look at it from the viewpoint of, okay, well, they're congregating here because they know there's people trapped inside and they understand that they're going to run out of gas. So, let's all go here and then we can get gas. Why would you spend all your gas circling the gas station to keep the people inside, only to need gas later?
Well, this is back when gas was like 83 cents a gallon, so it was fine.
Yeah, diesel, I think, was 108 at the time. But yes. So you're wasting all of your gas to be near gas so you can get more gas.
Yeah, and that was like the only thing they ever requested, right? Like yes. When they were communicating, all they wanted them to do was fill up the trucks, and that was it. Like,
yep,
they didn't.
And there was like a truce, so it wasn't even like you filled up the truck and then they killed them all.
Right.
They let them all go back inside.
Yeah, yeah. It was symbiotic, but there was no end game for the trucks.
Yep.
So, we get the ATM machine and some broadcasts to kind of introduce us to what's happening. Levers are turning, buttons are turning. Like you said at the very beginning, the bridge goes up on its own. I guess at some point early on, they're just like announcing that they're here, right? Like they're just causing chaos to let you know who's in charge.
Right.
Then we get to the truck stop game room. And all the machines that are in there are going crazy. The pinball machine's playing itself. And then something happens and I've seen this movie quite a few times, and I never noticed this before, and I'm sure it was an Easter egg on purpose, but are you familiar with the Polybius urban legend?
No, I'm not. Okay. Or at least not by that name.
All right. So Polybius is this arcade machine that was put out in the mid 80s, somewhere in like the Seattle area, and there's like a one cabinet of it in a regular arcade, but like deep in the back. And anyone who plays this game, they wind up with amnesia. They wake up in a different location, and the urban legend is either that it was some kind of MK Ultra experiment or some kind of FBI mind control thing. And people were rushing to play the game because they're interested in this whole lore, but obviously it's urban legend. So, but the way that the game worked was there were these very specific symbols that would flash on the screen, and while you're playing the game, this is how it was hypnotizing you, whatever you want to call it. They were a square, a circle, a diamond, a plus, a wave, and a triangle. and that's exactly what's flashing on the
Oh,
screen
wow.
before Giancarlo touches it and electrocutes himself. And I was like, I never noticed that before, and it's obviously on purpose. And I was checking to see if it was in the book like that too, because the book would have predated the urban legend, but the movie doesn't. And it didn't seem that way in the book. It was something that Stephen King threw in afterwards. And that was
I like that.
Deeply buried Easter egg, but
Yeah.
it was pretty cool to catch that. Also, somebody says "eat my shorts" at some point.
Yes, yes, they do. I thought that was perfect. I think it's Wanda. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
And we also get somebody that says the name of the movie. Brett says it.
Yeah.
And Wanda also says the name of the ACD song, "Who Made Who."
Who made who? She screams
yeah.
it.
Yes, she does.
We made
I mean,
you.
it's ACDC. You have to scream it. But like, I love that arcade scene.
Yeah.
Because you instantly, it's like when I was a kid, no matter where you went, the first thing I did, if I was in a building that I was unfamiliar with, was, do they have an arcade machine here?
Yeah.
If you went to a deli,
Oh, absolutely.
even hotels, just like
Yep.
like my dad was an officer, and then sometimes he would work jobs on the side, and sometimes I go along with him.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember going into like hotels where he had to like check in to do something, and go in like, yep, there's Miss Pac-Man, and there I was. So all these like little like the truck stops and everything, just knowing that there was going to be an arcade machine in there, and I'm hoping for either like Miss Pac-Man or something I've never seen before.
Yeah.
So either way, I was going to be happy, and usually it was at least one of your standards, or you got to play something different that you never saw.
Right.
So I just
yeah.
Again, we have all the games at our disposal anytime we want to play them, but I still miss just going somewhere and being surprised by a cabinet.
The proliferation of arcade machines at that point, in the mid 80s all the way through like the mid 90s, was ridiculous. There was at a certain point when Street Fighter had taken over the world, when Street Fighter 2 took over everything, there was the arcades to go play it, and then everybody and their mother had a secret location where they knew that there was a Street Fighter machine that you wouldn't expect to be there, so that they could go practice before they went to the. But that was everywhere, and yeah, there was a couple hotels we stayed at where like the arcade was on the third floor, and you would go up to the third floor, and there was like a whole room that just had a line of games on it. It was unbelievable, and consoles killed that once they got good enough to look the same as the arcade games. That was the end of that. But yeah, there's nothing like. I still take my son. Like, there's nothing like just standing in front of a machine and playing the game the way it's the way it was meant to be played.
Oh yeah, no, I mean especially the joystick, completely different experience. Especially like if you're playing like Dig Dug, Ms. Pac-Man, Mr. Do, anything that you have to do a quick turn with. It's not the same as a controller pad. You don't get the same feel, or even like an Atari joystick. It's not the same.
No, that thing tears up
like,
your hand.
I still remember like the 7-Eleven that used to be by me. I mean, I was in my heyday. Arcade machine in there, and action coins in the Slurpees. So Slurpees alone, and then getting a baseball or football action coin at the bottom of it. So my dad used to take me like, I felt like every other day at least. And there was one arcade game that we would always play, and I don't remember what it was called. And I have very vague memories of it, but no idea what it was. But I know I loved playing it, and I never saw that cabinet anywhere else in any arcade I ever went to.
You have any details at all on the game?
I want to say it was a side scroller.
Okay.
And the main character looked a little bit like Metroid.
Okay.
My memory could be fuzzy.
Okay.
And you would just fire things at the enemies coming from the other side. And I remember just like these orbs. And I can't remember if you had to collect the orbs or avoid the orbs, or some of the orbs were a weapon that you shot. But that's all I can remember. And it was probably just an average game, but I really enjoyed playing it.
So was it flat out side scroller, like where you could just go left and right, or was it more like a like Golden Axe where you had up and down within the
no
side
just left and right?
Just left and right. Okay.
and I can't remember if you got pushed along or you got to move at your own free will.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's, we used to go to the 7-Eleven to play Street Fighter, and they wouldn't give us quarters. Like, you couldn't just give the guy $1 and he give you quarters. So we would buy a Chocodile for a quarter and then get 75 cents and then play the game and then come out just back and forth the whole time. And I miss Chocodiles is the point of that story. All right. So where were we on this stupid movie? So he's the first guy we see die, right? He died.
Well, no, the first deaths we have are on the bridge.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. There's supposedly 12 people that die on the bridge.
Okay.
If you assume every time something bad happens, somebody dies
from the watermelon attacks.
Those. Yeah, I noted like the watermelons are acting like cannonballs.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so what are we dealing with? A 45-degree angle at most?
Give or take, yeah.
Yeah. So a watermelon to launch the way it was launching isn't just going to drop like that at a 45-degree angle, because it's going to go down.
Right.
It's not going to be propelled into the air. And I also thought it was hilarious that it was basically just creating a mess on the bridge for people trying to run away to trip and fall in, because the watermelon's just creating a nice slippery slope for them.
Yeah, and then for some reason, even though it's this metal girder bridge, no car or truck could hold its grip on the road whatsoever. Yeah. And then at one point I was goofing on this one lady because she sees the watermelon coming through her moonroof.
Yes.
And she kind of just like ducks and covers, and I'm like, you're such an idiot. But I was like, I don't know, if somebody was launching a watermelon at me and it was coming at me and I couldn't get out of the car, I guess that's the right move, to just cover your eyes and make sure you don't get glass everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Outside of the car, I feel like it would be just like the maneuver of getting hit by a pitch in baseball. You just want to move with the momentum. So, I mean, if you throw a watermelon at me, I'm going to try to catch it because I want to eat the watermelon.
Sure, they're delicious.
So yeah, I don't want it to hit the ground and explode. So I'm definitely going to try to catch that watermelon, or at least stop it from exploding on the ground.
Yeah, you got to knock it down like you're the safety. Just make sure it hits the ground so nobody can catch it. Exactly. We also find out during all of this that our gas station owner is a real piece of work. That he has clearly hired a whole bunch of felons who are on parole so that he can sort of have more control over them than you would over a normal employee. To the point where he's threatening that he wants them to falsify their time cards and things of this nature. Either that or he's going to send them back to prison.
And it's like 90% of their workforce are on parole.
Right.
So since you mentioned him, one thing I want to point out, I don't know if you caught because it's really quick. The first night that they all stay together, and when they wake up in the next morning, when the bulldozer arrives,
right?
Hendershot and Wanda June are the last two to come out. Hendershot's adjusting his belt buckle and she's straightening out her shirt.
Yeah.
So without telling us they slept together, they slept together.
Yeah.
And Hendershot's basically has enough artillery in the basement to supply an army.
Yeah.
Rocket launchers, grenades, automatic weapons, you name the weapon, it is down there.
Yeah.
If you told me he had a nuclear bomb, I'd believe you based on what we saw. So my question is, you don't know that the comet's going to be gone in 8 days.
Right.
You just know that this is your new reality.
Yeah.
You don't know how long it's going to be your new reality for.
Right.
What day do you kill Hendershot?
If I'm Bill, I probably kill him the minute that the Jack in the Box truck drives away on its own. I kill Hendershot as soon as I just need a half of an excuse to get rid of this guy. He's a terrible human being. I don't wait. I have no reason to wait. Oh, trucks are driving themselves.
Well,
I have to kill you.
My only hesitation would be that other people would disagree.
Yeah.
However, Hendershot will kill you
No
when
question.
you get down to it.
Yeah.
So, definitely he's hoarding weapons. So once resources are even questionably low, he's going to start killing people.
Yeah, he's got the upper hand the whole time.
Yes, it's like it's a trolley problem.
Yeah.
You have to kill Hendershot to save everyone else's lives there. So once you realize shit's going sideways, the first chance you have to make it look like it was done by a truck, you do it.
You know what?
Other than that, you be prepared and wait for him to get out of line and take him out.
I'll say this. Maybe I don't immediately move to kill him because I do have some humanity in me, as far as I'm to understand. But I definitely quarantine him. He's definitely getting tied up and put in a room where he has no say over anything, and we just bring him his meals when it's time for meals. And I don't want him to have anything to do with any of this until we're very clear as to what's happening, and we're very clear as to what our plan is to deal with what's happening. He's just a scumbag, and he's got to be treated as such.
Right, and especially like I thought of that when Deke's father, Duncan, when he gets sprayed in the face with the diesel, because when the diesel stops pumping, just like anything dangerous, when it stops flowing out or stops doing its job, you put it as close to your face as possible and see if you can see what the problem is. So he doesn't deserve his eyes.
No, I agree.
But when he's half blind and he goes, I have to find my son.
Right.
And he goes, you clocking out?
Yeah.
At that point, I was like, oh, okay. No matter what happens, when it comes down to it, he's going to kill somebody if he has to.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and it didn't go that way, but had he survived, it 100% would have gone that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I was like, I think you have to kill this guy so other people won't die.
My like I said, my son was watching with me, and he sees him start looking into the pump, and he just goes, he's gonna do the Daffy Duck thing, isn't he? You know it, kid. 15 years old, he knows this is a dumb idea. This grown-ass man who works at a gas station should know that.
It's like, you light in that M80 and it doesn't go off, so you pick it up and look at the fuse to see if it's still lit.
Yep.
Look
right down the barrel of the shotgun and see why the shell didn't come out yet.
Anytime, I always had fire. I forget what the proper word is. I still mix it up to this day, but I remember being in North Carolina one time and asking the guy for firecrackers because they were behind a glass case. I was like, can I have some firecrackers? He's like, we don't sell them. And I thought he was just fucking with me. And I was like, what are those? He's like, theirs is fireworks. I'm like, I don't fucking care. I mean, I was like 12, so I'm not saying that, but still.
Not here for a semantics lesson, guy. Just sell me some stuff.
Just sell it to me. Yes. You're smarter than me. I get it. I don't know the proper terminology for the things that blow off fingers.
Right.
But I want some.
Congrats, we don't have those where I live, and you know better. Yeah. Now just give me them and here's some money.
Oh, it was just infuriating. Yeah. But I was nice. I didn't do anything because he was right. Yeah. I was wrong. But he just went about it in the most dickish way possible when it was clear what I was saying.
Yeah, you stupid Yankee.
So, yeah.
So we get a little bit of bloodletting as all this chaos is happening because the turkey carving knife comes to life and manages to carve the arm of one of the waitresses. And our response is to take a hammer to it and smash it until it stops working. Now, I have a question about this. I think at this point, we're still not totally sure what this reality we're living in is. And this is a carving knife, which weighs, I don't know, on the left side of 9 ounces. Why are we not just like picking it up by the handle and holding
Yeah.
it out of the way? Like it's got no agency. It didn't walk. It just used vibration to get closer, and it cut her because she wasn't paying attention. Why are we smashing it with a hammer as if it ran into the room unexpectedly and chopped her arm off?
Yeah. I mean, because at this point, this was after the arcade death, I believe, right?
Yeah.
But did we? I don't know if we knew. We knew that the man died in the arcade, but I don't know if they knew yet.
No, I don't.
So,
they didn't make a thing of it, and he wasn't a guy. Like he wasn't a main guy that like, hey, where'd Bob go? You know what I mean? So no,
yeah, he was just trying to get as many cigarettes and quarters as he possibly could and get out of there.
Right.
And had he left.
And then on top of that, I don't know that he was, but he was kind of giving off sort of he was like a bum kind of impression.
Yeah.
So like even if the bum died in the arcade, if they didn't specifically see him get electrocuted, they would just assume he was a bum who was in poor health and he died.
Yeah.
And that was that. And then we smashed that carving knife to bits.
You just grab it from the back. And the same thing goes for the mule. So they're scared of the mule being able to shoot them.
Right.
Even though it doesn't have up and down, it only has side to side and forward.
Right.
So all you have to do is go on the ground. Or once you're outside after the truce, hop on the back of the mule and fire all of the bullets. Then it no longer has the ability to do that. And I think they make a mention like it just has to signal its friends and they're going to napalm us. Well, I mean, they can already kill you. They haven't for some reason yet. So why are they just going to do that because you shot all the bullets? They can just still run you over.
Yeah, ultimately, at a certain point, they have to come to the conclusion that basically, if the trucks felt like it, right, they could just line up in a line and just charge the building, and eventually enough trucks there will just bulldoze the building. So the bullets are kind of irrelevant. All of it's kind of irrelevant if the machines want you dead, considering your whole building is filled with electrical devices, which the machines clearly show at some point that they have the ability to specifically control your electricity and what happens in there. I don't know what their end game was, so I don't know what the plan is, but basically you got to leave or you're screwed. And this brings me to another small gripe that I have with the movie. There's big gripes and small gripes. Most of the convoy was big rigs. And big rigs are inherently unbalanced, right? Like inherently unbalanced. So if you're running from a big rig that's chasing you, your best bet is to make some really quick turns and force it to turn in on itself and jackknife. And nobody did that. They just ran in a straight line until this much faster than them vehicle caught up and hit them. And that was annoying. That was really annoying to me. Like, just jig back and forth and they're going to tip over. And it's not like, as far as we know, like, it's not like they're going to send in a fleet of forklifts to pick the truck back up and put it back on its feet. But they didn't do that either. Instead we got this dumb shooting bazookas at them and potentially infuriating them even further. Shooting
bazookas at the gas pumps.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand.
At the trucks filled with diesel, standing next to the diesel pumps. Yes.
Yes. I understand. Have the missile launcher. It might come in handy, and you use that as a last resort, not just to go out there and blow them up. So, I mean, like, really what you should have done is led them away, and as they were driving away, walk up behind with the missiles and blow the hell out of them.
Yeah.
That should have been the plan.
They seem dumb enough to be able to lead them into like collisions, like just trick them.
And movies love shooting out tires.
Oh yeah.
So we have more bullets than we know what to do with. So shoot out the tires. Mm-hmm. And even, I mean, maybe they can lock the door, but you can break the window. Right. You can just climb into the truck and put the brakes on. It can't override the brakes, right?
Well, so back to the kid on the bike. It was able to override. It was able to control his brakes without his input. So why would we assume that?
Well, I guess it might maybe it could force the brake pedal back up. So then it's going to come down to it's stronger than you, and it's
right.
Okay, that makes sense.
So then we get to a point where the trucks are communicating with the humans because they send their little army mule truck, and it's given off Morse code, which fortunately we have a Boy Scout in the house, and he knew what the Morse code was. And they need gas, and no one will be harmed. I don't know how you feel about this, because I'm sure, just such as myself, you've never been under attack by a bunch of rogue trucks before.
Right.
But I'm not 100% sure that I would trust the no one gets hurt if you just give us our fuel proposition that these trucks have presented to them.
Because you know how no one gets hurt? When you just run out of gas.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then they can't move. Yeah. Although you would think they wouldn't necessarily need gas, because if they can control everything, they can just spin their own tires.
Right. They can control the motors too. They can just create their own. Listen, this is not a science.
So what it comes down to is that they can't actually control anything but buttons.
And wheels. Steering wheels.
Yes. So, because it like, just like with the bridge, all the buttons and the levers come on.
Right.
So, and they can control electricity, because then the arcade gets loaded.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I would just think they could spin their own tires and not even need gas.
And then they can control, presumably, a cordless turkey carver. So they can control electricity that's not connected to the grid, if you will. So sometimes they're like fascist enemies. Sometimes they're super powerful, and sometimes they're completely incompetent in what they do. So that's what these trucks are. I don't know if they're supposed to be a metaphor for something or what's happening here. I just know that no one knows what's happening, and at a certain point it breaks down to just be, man versus machine. But neither of them have decided on the end game, right? Like the man part hasn't decided, well, we're just going to blow up every truck that there is. And the machine part hasn't said, we're just going to kill every human that there is. We're just going to have this standoff for no particular reason, with no understanding as to when it will end or why it's happening.
Yeah, and so even with the mule, there's no electricity connecting the gun to the vehicle.
Right.
So can't they just start shooting off the guns and the missile launchers inside inside the building?
The ones that are in the basement.
Well, the ones that are in the basement.
They're in a basement. You don't have as much communication with them.
Oh, they don't have. Okay, the comet's just a little bit too far away.
Exactly.
With the basement. Okay.
The reception is bad.
Yeah. Can't get a signal down here.
Knowing him, it's probably a lead-lined basement.
You probably have to walk around the basement holding up the gun to see if it'll go off.
Yeah, you got to be closer to the window so a little bit more signal penetrates.
Yeah.
So then they just leave, right? Like they just decide the best thing we can do here is leave, which should have been the plan from the beginning. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I get maybe the first day, because you're not sure whether they're going to go off on their own or they're going to still hunt you.
Okay, but what is
you have a food supply.
But what does that conversation sound like? Hey, Russ, listen, hear me out. I know these trucks are circling the building, and we have no particular concept as to what's happening whatsoever, and these trucks have shown a propensity to hurt humans given the opportunity. Why don't we hang out a little longer and just see if this kind of heals itself? No, let's leave.
Yeah.
You have a secret exit underground? Let's all take that secret exit underground. Because at least if we go off to the countryside, we have a fighting chance of regrouping and figuring out what the hell is happening.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think basically they should stay there just long enough to gather all the supplies that they need and can possibly take, and then figure out how to get out of there and take that with you.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need food, you're going to need water, you're going to need weapons.
Yeah. Presumably you're gonna do some, end of the days prepping, and then you're gonna go. You're just gonna go, and then if you want to wait it out, what you're gonna wait out is we're gonna be hiding on a campground somewhere, and then we're gonna come back tomorrow and maybe take some binoculars and see what's going on over at the gas station. And if it still looks like it looked yesterday, we're going back to camp.
Yeah. And go ahead.
No, you go.
I was gonna say, one of the other things I did not understand is how the trucks are able to, or the trucks, anything, any of the machinery, is able to see us and hear us. Because if the trucks always know where the humans are, and when things are said, I feel like the gun on the mule reacted to what was said.
Yeah.
The drive-through sign starts saying like humans here, which means it can see them,
right,
or hear them. So if that's the case, how is that happening? It's almost telling me like these are some sort of like hive mind, because they all seem to be able to communicate with each other somehow, or they've been studying us for quite some time and they're aware of our languages. But even then, where are the ears on a truck? Like, how does that even begin to work?
Did you not see the Happy Toys truck? It had both eyes.
Well,
and
yeah, it did.
ears.
I'm sorry, gigantic ears on the truck. My mistake.
Face.
Yeah. So I was just confused as to, again, like the rules that they're putting forth and how this is supposed to work.
So this is where I'm going to take you all the way back to the beginning of the show here, where we were discussing Stephen King saying no one's been able to do his stories justice, or however he phrased it. This is the exact sort of thing that when you get a big time professional director to do your movie, this is the stuff that they fix. This is the stuff where they go, look, I understand you wrote the story, but we need to have, at the very least, we need to have a unified understanding as to what is happening in the big picture of things. We can't both have, this is happening, but also this isn't happening, even though they're the same sort of thing, just in a different location. Like a proper director and a proper story editor take all of this stuff and go, okay, what level of power do you want these trucks to have as far as abilities are concerned? Are they psychic? Can they communicate with each other?
Yeah.
Do they use the CBs and just send fax machine sounds to each other that they register? Like something like that. Like,
yeah, we didn't have the internet then, but the modem start up, I mean, we did. You can get online with your Commodore, but not as we know it.
No.
Yeah.
But they all had CB radios. So they had a line of communication with each other that they could utilize in some trucky kind of way. Like they could send the static as Morse code, just like they were sending the horn as Morse, whatever it might be.
Or the lights flashing a certain way.
Lights flashing would be good too. Yeah. So these are the things that a really good director takes your story and builds some of this stuff into there, so they don't look goofy at the end of the movie going, we genuinely enjoy this movie, but we do not understand what happened at all.
Right, because even I mentioned the drive-through sign.
Mm-hmm.
Drive-through sign. I mean, today we do with AI, unfortunately, but the drive-through signs didn't have their own voice. A human was on the other end,
right,
saying the words through the speaker. This drive-through, because it had a speaker, could just talk.
Right.
And therefore, all of the trucks that have radio, the car speakers for the radio, should also be able to talk.
Yeah.
Because of that. And they don't.
And also, if these things have control over all things electric, why would they allow radio broadcasts that are explaining what's happening?
Yeah.
Right? Like, why would they allow people to be informed when it would be clearly much better to keep them in chaos and terror? So why didn't they just shut down the radio stations or, not redirect, but censor out the stuff that they don't want to go out, as far as explaining what's happening and how much time you might have to withstand this before it's over and things like that. It's just...
And even then with the drive-through logic, the radios can just say, it is safe for humans to go outside.
Yeah.
You know, trucks have been defeated.
Hey, come inside. The burgers are hot. Okay.
We promise you won't be shot. You know, they can use the radio to their advantage to say whatever they want, but this one speaker seems to be the only one that learned how to speak.
Well, yeah, because otherwise then you wouldn't have needed the Morse code at the gas station. You could have just had a military voice talking from out of the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if they know us so well, they should know the average human does not know Morse code.
Right. They just lucked into the fact that the kid with the merit badge happened to have just made it to the gas station.
And the other way things are inconsistent too with what comes alive and what doesn't. Boats have motors. Now I understand that you could say, I'm going to take a sailboat because that's the smart thing to do. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was his plan, to get a sailboat. But it's not the only boat at the dock.
No.
And they're not all sailboats at the dock.
Right.
So the second one boat starts to go off and be like, Jim, you controlling that boat? No,
I'm not.
No, Charles, I'm controlling this one. That's why my voice is over here, even though I'm a boat and I shouldn't talk, but I do. And then it's like, oh, cool, let's go kill the humans. Like, all the boats just sit there. Mm-hmm. Like, the motor should come on. Yeah.
Yeah, the incongruence and the inconsistency are wild in this movie.
Yeah.
And then what they do, just to make sure you're completely off kilter, is that when they end the movie, they kind of introduce the idea that there was a UFO the whole time.
Yeah.
There was a UFO. And by the way, in 1986, also, Russia saved the day. Like,
why?
That was an oddity to me, that King would write that Russia saved the day. This still, 86 is still heavy duty Cold War.
But it was also a jab at Russia because it had weather satellite in quotations. So they're basically saying, like, Russia's lying to us. They can do these things, but also praising them for helping.
Right. They not only outwitted everyone by hiding this weapon and calling it a weather set. Like, they gives them 2 bumps of credit. They snuck a method of destruction past us by calling it a weather satellite, and then blew up a UFO that no one mentioned even for a second in this movie until the Chiron at the end. So,
well, they allude to it with the broom.
The one conversation,
the comet is right, but it is such a leap.
Right.
To get there without seeing it. So we need to see it.
Yeah, there's a conversation between 2 nudniks who don't know a thing about a thing.
Yes.
But no one on the radio ever says anything. No one in a position of power says, there is the comet thing, but there's also a large UFO hovering over the Earth. So that could be part of the problem, folks.
Yep.
And so I don't know why the UFO was introduced into the story, right? Like if it had just been that last line, 6 days later, the Earth passed through the tail of the comet exactly as predicted, and everything kind of just went back to normal, would have been fine, because it's what you were expecting anyway. We as the viewer knew that they were just going to have to wait this out, but them as the people existing didn't know that was, the factor. So why did we ever need the UFO at all?
We don't. You don't need both. You either need the comet or you need the UFO.
Right.
Or if you're going to have them both, they need to be happening at the same time. A comet appeared the same time a UFO did.
Or if you're going to bring the UFO into it, going back to all of the things that are incongruent in the movie, that's when it turns into a more focused attack. Right? Like first we're through the tail of the comet, and that's what sends everything haywire, and then all of a sudden everything becomes strangely well organized, and then that's like, okay, so this is where the UFO took over, and however that works. But you didn't just need to blindly say at the end, oh, and by the way, there was a UFO that we shot out of the sky that no one noticed. Also, where did it go once they shot it out of the sky? Did it crash to the earth? No one saw a thing. And then we passed through the tail of the comet, and now, we're back to, things being what they were.
Yeah. All I know is car insurance rates are going to skyrocket after this is all said and done.
No question. Now the cars can drive by themselves in 1986. All of your insurance is going to go through the roof. The movie's a mess, more than I even realized before we started talking about this. And he has the nerve to say that this, no one's done my movies justice. Quite frankly, neither has he. So,
and it will say for most Stephen King directed movies, or even the ones that weren't directed by him, but later in the 90s, once we get past like Misery, like once you get to like Thinner, I feel like they have a very specific look to it that doesn't so much look just like your normal. Like you could just show me a still, and if I'd never seen it before, I'd go, that's a Stephen King movie.
You'd know it was a Stephen King movie.
Yes.
They kind of fell into a formula.
I wouldn't know with this. You show me, if I never saw this movie, I had no idea what it was. I didn't know he was involved. And you said, who wrote the story for this movie and who directed it? I wouldn't know. But once you get later into those works, I see something like that's Stephen King. So like at least for his first attempt, I would honestly rather it look like this visually than some of the movies later.
Visually, I really don't have a problem with it at all.
Yeah.
It's the story, which unfortunately in this particular instance, the story is written by the guy who's directing the movie.
Yes. One of the visuals I had a problem with was Joey taking a shit, complete with sound. And if you had the closed caption on, the closed caption said squish every time a little piece of Joey left him.
I think I'm okay with that.
Oh, and that reminds me, the interior of the Dixie Boy, I guess it's like the attendance room. There's a bed in there for some reason.
Yeah.
So, maybe he's just got people living there. But Duncan has an 8x10 of Deke on his desk. I didn't know he'd need a desk, but he has a desk. It might be just a common work area. And then on the other side is about 25 cutouts from nudie mags, plastering the wall. So on the one side, it's like, oh, what a sweet man. He likes to have a picture of his son. Oh, and not only do you like that, which is fine, but you want to let me know you like it, which is weird. So, and it's just a place of business.
In the 80s, one way to denote that you were either in a house full of adolescent men or really shitty human beings was to show a wall of Playboy cutouts all plastered on top of each other. It was like a visual clue if you didn't get it from all the other behavioral clues.
Yeah.
That this person is either an overly testosterone man, between the ages of 18 and 25, or a really shitty older guy who's going to do some scummy stuff coming up.
And like, I don't even think I would have cared if you didn't have the picture of his kid out.
The kid too, yeah.
Just because of the juxtaposition of the two, but the picture of the kid is out to let us know that that's his kid. Because early on, when Duncan and Joey are outside talking, Joey says something to him like, hey, you drop off Mickey Mantle today? And he goes, he hit 3 homers and one of them went 250 feet. And I don't know they're talking about Little League. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm 51 years old with severe asthma and I can still hit the ball 250 feet. That's not a brag, Like,
it was then because bats were a lot heavier.
Yeah.
Bats used to weigh 17, 18 pounds each. So to get that swing going, it was a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially with, like for softball, I love the absolute heaviest bat I could possibly hold. And then for baseball, we had the ultralights. So you got like a 34.5-inch bat at like 29.5-inch ounces. These things cracked all the time. I think I went through like 3 or 4 of them. But yeah, like.
Have you paid attention at all to what's happening with bats these days? With Little League
No.
bats? Little League bats and college bats are insane now. They're like drop 12, drop 13 regularly on average. Drop 12, drop 13. They're 2 pieces. They split in half after a hit, and they're $300-400 a piece. And it's insane picking up one of these bats, like a 33, 34-inch bat that only weighs like 20 ounces. And it's just like, it's almost confusing for me to hold that bat. Like, how is this? Where's the rest of the bat? They are insane with these bats. The US AAD or whatever it is, those bats are nuts.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because even, I want to say the ultralights were like $130.
Yeah.
Back in the late 80s, early 90s. So for inflation, a $300 bat, considering how everything has doubled, isn't terrible.
Right.
But that is still insane.
But just to hear
That's a lot of money, because you don't want to use a team bat. Team bats suck.
No, team bats
so you want your own bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want your own bat. It's going to crack after 4 or 5 games. It's just absolutely insane what they're up to with these bats. And yeah, when I played, like drop 4 was like an impressive bat. If you could find one that was drop 4 or drop 5, you're like, oh, I'm really at top of the line here. That and ceramic bats, and now it's just completely bonkers what they have.
I had a ceramic bat too. I tried out. I cracked it within like 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're just hairline cracks. Like especially the ultralight Eastons, they would just get this little hairline crack on it. But still, it's not supposed to be there, so the bat's not going to do what it's supposed to do.
Right.
So you need to get a new one.
At the very least, it's going to vibrate your hands until they hurt.
Yeah.
Just from a single. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's absolutely insane. Look, when you get a chance, look up the Easton Hype Fire. That's like one of the big. Everybody should have this bats. Like all the kids on the block want that bat. Anyway. Yeah. So. There are so many issues with this movie. I don't know where to begin. I don't think we can pull it apart any more than we have, because ultimately whatever we talk about is going to be covered at some other point in the movie.
Yes. By
the opposite perspective, right? Like, oh, why didn't they do this to do that? And then later on in the movie they did that to do that, but differently. Like you know what I mean? Like, why didn't they just run in a zigzag and make these trucks fall over? And then actually later on, they kind of figured out that they could get them off their gird a little bit and make them move. So yeah, I don't know what he was doing with this movie, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's better than a lot of the crappy Stephen King movies that are out there, which is probably also a byproduct of the fact that he will sell a story to anyone for any reason whatsoever. Which, God love him, he's made a fortune off of it. But I'm trying to go through this list as we're talking and try to figure out what the last great Stephen King movie was, horror movie. Because there's a couple down the line like Shawshank and things like that are great movies, but they're not horror movies.
Right.
And I can't really find anything pretty much post Misery that's just truly a great movie on top of being a good story told by Stephen King.
Yeah.
And that's now 30 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know, like, it's for everything that we're saying about this movie, if we weren't going to talk about it, I put it on and I'm probably not even going to think about any of the complaints we have.
No.
Maybe when the voice comes to the speaker, I'd be like, okay, what's going on here? But other than that, I probably would just be like, okay, I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
And in spite of all of these issues, it's still just fun.
Oh, it's absolute blast of a movie.
Yeah.
I think the movie premise is so disarming. The trucks are fighting the humans, and it's not a Transformers movie.
Yeah.
They stay as trucks the whole time. That concept is so disarming to begin with that you can't apply any reality to it. So you just sit there and enjoy the nonsense that's happening on the screen. Except that one fucking truck with the face on it that kept me sleepless for months on end. And it didn't really even do anything except for be that truck, and then the eyes lit up yellow, and that was about it.
And I don't want to talk bad about the truck, but
you better not.
When you get down to it, what did it do?
Nothing except for look scary. Like
yes,
that's all it brought to the table was an imposing icon that you could attach to the movie that wasn't one of the actors.
It puts a face on your enemy. Yeah. Is really kind of what it does.
Perfect.
So it's almost like you're fighting, just fighting goblin trucks.
Right.
But I think I would have, and this is just such a nitpicky thing, but by putting the Happy Toys or whatever, I think it's Happy Toys, right?
Yeah. With a Z.
And maybe that's what they wanted to do, was make it menacing, but not menacing at the same time. I just would have preferred it to be like jet black with purple and green trim to match the goblin face. Like, just get rid of the Happy Toys altogether, because to me it makes it look a little less threatening with that on the side.
Well, so if we're, and again, I don't think it's a great idea, if we're applying reality to this, it should be disarming, because ultimately it was a truck driven by a guy to deliver toys to toy stores. It wasn't supposed to look scary until it started driving itself. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
That, why would that guy, why would he drive around in a truck that looks scary as hell, that he's essentially going to park in front of kids' toy stores, right? Like, so that's the beauty of that. And yeah, it's absolutely, you're right, it's the face of the enemy, because even on the cover of the VHS tape, it's Emilio and that face. Like, that's the warring factions in this movie. Instead of the greasers and the Socs, we have the trucks and the humans. This is just Outsiders, but with trucks. That's all this is.
Yeah, because if you don't put that face on it, then it's just like a picture of a convoy.
Yeah.
And like, what's that going to do? You see that face, and you go, what kind of truck is that?
Something's happening.
And especially if you see Emilio Estevez on the cover with like a shotgun or whatever he's, whatever gun he has, that he's going to be shooting at that truck,
right?
Or using it to kill
or
people.
Driving that truck,
yeah. So not knowing anything about the movie and just seeing that, that truck's going to get up to some shit.
Yeah.
And other than just running some people over, I feel like it could have done so much more than it did.
Yeah, it was never in charge, right? Like it
right.
At a certain point, they seemed like they were trying to paint it as like the boss truck, but then the army truck showed up, and the army truck was the communicator, and the rest of the trucks just kind of fell in line.
Right.
So it was never a key vehicle at all. It was just that goblin face truck. That's all it was. And there is definitely someone in a reasonable proximity of this area that has their rig done up like that, because I do occasionally see that on 295 when I'm driving around, and the face lights up and everything. And if you're ill prepared for that, and that shows up in your rearview mirror,
shit, time to get off the highway.
It catches you off guard.
Yeah, I believe that would happen.
So, I mean, we can walk through the deaths on this, but I do feel like while the deaths have to happen in order to push the scary part of the story, they're not really focused on in this movie at all. I don't think any of the deaths were like art. Like there was no high art in the deaths at all. The only death I really enjoyed was what's his name's death, because I was just glad to see him die.
Hendershot.
Yeah, Hendershot, when he gets shot up by the machine gun.
I did rather enjoy the baseball field scene.
At the beginning?
Yes, at the beginning.
Okay.
Yes. So when with the team wins the game, the coach is like, I'm treating you to sodas. And he goes over to the vending machine and just gets nailed in the nuts.
Yeah.
And then nailed in the nuts. And then hit in the head.
Right.
But there is no mark on his head when it first happens.
No.
That mark is only there later.
And it is deep.
Yes, it is extremely deep.
It's also wrong, because the cans are coming out sideways out of that machine, and the contact with his head is clearly like the bottom of the can.
They should be coming out sideways, but we can clearly see the launcher, which is just shooting the cans either ass or face first. So I don't know which way it's coming out.
Right.
But yes, the can should in a real vending machine. That is not how that's happening.
In a real vending machine that suddenly came to life and started firing cans of soda out 9 times as fast as normal, those cans would obviously go sideways.
I love this scene for so many reasons. The kids are at first unsure what's happening, and there's a kid on the right, and he is positioned kid on the left of the right of the screen. There's a kid on the right that is positioned in a way where he is leaning forward. They're all waiting for the sodas, and then when things go sideways, they start walking. So all this kid could think about was, I have to walk forward, I have to walk forward, I have to walk forward. And he's cheating. He's pushing his body forward before it's time to walk, because they cut back to it and he's the first one off.
Now? Do I go now?
I was like,
what's the signal? I forgot what the signal is, guys. Now?
Why is he standing like that? It was so weird. And then to see all he could think about is the only thing he had to do, which was walk,
right,
which is just what he'd be doing anyway. He unfortunately was one of the kids that got killed. So again, it's not real children. I want to preface that.
No children were harmed during the making of this movie.
I'd love this. Kids just getting pelted with soda cans. Awesome. So I thought this scene was rather comical.
It was an enjoyable scene. Also, the nut shot is the eternal comedy. It will never not be funny to see somebody get hit in the balls.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the situation is. The
Football
Simpsons.
in the groin.
Yep. And then it's an entire TV show in Idiocracy. They're just sitting around watching people get hit in the nuts, and it's always hilarious. And I'm not sure why, because it is beyond the most painful thing that can happen to you while you're still conscious.
And I think the coach may have purposely put his head in front of that one can, because if we see what that can did to his forehead, he took 2 shots to the dick.
Yeah.
His balls are gone. Unless he's wearing a cup, there is nothing left.
I have nothing left to live for now that these cans have taken out my yams.
It's like basically someone dropped a package of Black Cats down his pants, pre-lit, because everything is going to be destroyed.
Yeah, it got flattened out. And so he just didn't want to live anymore. In that moment, he just decided death by soda machine.
Yeah, hit me in the head this time, guys. Come on.
So that's the movie. That was a good scene, but they really don't focus on the. Oh yeah, go ahead.
The kid going under the steamroller too
was so
fantastic.
Ridiculous. So ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't. Did Stephen King direct any more of his own movies?
I don't recall.
I'm checking just to see.
Yeah.
I don't think he should be directing any more of his movies after that one. And I hope he came to that conclusion too, but I'm checking to see. You know what? He's not even listed as the director at all
No,
on his IMDb
this is
page.
it.
No,
Maximum Overdrive is the only one.
Yeah, there's like not even a section for directing credits. So good. Excellent.
Yeah.
He did it. He realized it's not his forte, and he went back to writing books, and that's how it should have been. That's the ending for this movie that we all had hoped for. So we've already talked about, we're all over the place, but we already talked about it, and you're going to watch this movie again?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Watch it again. Yeah, everything that we said, it does not matter. These are just, just being critical of things that could have made it even better.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. The complaint is just because it could have been better than it already was.
So here's a question, kind of in reverse, but do you think that if they had taken the lore more seriously and mapped out a more consistent, congruent sort of situation, do you think that would ruin the movie? Like, do you think that would take some of the fun out of it?
No, because I'm not questioning as many things then. And I don't know if I'm going to casually question it when I watch it. But if I continue to watch it over time, I'm going to start thinking about things when I'm not watching it. And I'm going to question it more. And I don't need it all perfectly laid out.
No, I know.
I just need it to be a little bit better.
Okay. Because I can certainly see a situation where they get it lined up, they get it that little bit better, and then you're not just sitting there going, this is ridiculous, and laughing along with it. Now you're taking the movie a little more seriously, thus taking some of the fun out of it, because some of the fun you're letting slide because you're letting this ridiculous concept devolve and you're laughing along with it.
I just want some consistency in what it takes over.
Yeah.
That's pretty. So if we're touching just a little bit. Yes.
Yeah. Like what its reach is.
Yep.
So do you think that at the end of the day, if we were to go up to Castle Rock, Maine right now and knock on Steven's door and ask him, did he make the movie he wanted with this movie?
See, I have two different answers for this, and there's only two different possibilities.
Well, no, there's maybe. Maybe can be.
Yeah,
can be
maybe, and maybe that's where I'm gonna land here.
Short answer, no with a but. Long answer, yes with an and.
Yeah. I'm basing this 100% on what we know of his criticism to be about previous movies, and what he said in the trailer. So at first I'm like, yeah, he made it based on the preview. This movie was made because King decided that he wanted his movies to be made right.
Right.
And in order to do something right, you have to do it yourself. So he did it himself. Therefore, he made the movie he set out to make. However, he wanted to make these movies to do it right because he wanted them to be, I'd assume, better, or as we discussed, more realistic to the book, which in his head then should still be better.
Yeah.
And that we went through those list of movies, and a majority of them was not better, tied, or maybe a little better on one or two, I think we said, but at the very least tied. So therefore, he did not make the movie he set out to make, because at the end of the day, it's not better than if he had not touched it himself.
Right. Presumably. But yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if we asked him, he would say, yeah, this is what I had in mind, and this is a direct translation from the short story to the screen.
Yeah.
And even though now at this point there's been like 3 or 4 other short stories that were translated to the screen, and they were all much better than his job at this one too. Because Running Man is a short story. Green Mile and Shawshank are all from short story, and so Stand By Me. So even in that venue where there's a short story and you have to kind of pull it apart and expand on it, it's all been done better than what he could do.
Yep.
Listen, you can't be great at everything.
No. And there's nothing wrong. Like, he's great at what he does.
Yeah.
So keep doing that.
All right. So how do you fix the movie?
I'm not going to do a ton of stuff differently, just tweak things like, on certain levels. I don't want to know at the beginning that the comet's going to pass. I feel like once you set that up, now I know what I'm seeing is not going to be the future. I'd rather learn that as the characters learn it. At least that's my preference.
Right.
So all they have to do is just say the comet's been in the Earth's orbit, and once that happened, things went to hell. And especially if you're going to tell us this is only going to last 8 days. You only showed us, I think, 2.5. So now I want to know what happened during the rest of the days. So I feel like it comes up short because of that. And I'd rather, in most cases, I like to learn as people are learning, not have the knowledge going in. And we've talked about this a lot. No rules have really been established. We want them to stay consistent. It makes no sense that one bike revolts, one knife attacks, and none of the cars do. It doesn't make sense that they can see and they can hear with no logical way to do so. And I feel like there's a really simple fix for this. Just give us some POV shots from the vehicles and give it like bat sonar or heat mapping. Even that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but it's at least something. Just something so we get a feel for how this works. We only need to do it once or twice. And now I understand, it knows why that person's there. And not just it's seeing with its headlights, I guess. I also feel like after Bill went apeshit on that electric knife, somebody should have been gathering up all the electronics and throwing them outside, or doing the same thing. If he was so adamant about having to kill that, what's the next one going to be? So there should just be a scene with a pile of the stuff in the back. We don't even have to see him do it. It could just be like, that's the last thing that runs on batteries or electricity. They're all gone, type of thing. Just again, to be a little more consistent, because now I'm wondering, why isn't everything else in the diner going off too and trying to kill them? The end of this movie is extremely anticlimactic to me. It just ends, and it ends in the same. Even though the Goblin is not their leader, it ends with them on the boat after they've shot the Goblin, or the toy truck, to make it think like that was its main rival. So if we're gonna present it as the leader, even though it's not, I feel like the showdown has to be a little more epic. And to kind of fix why this is happening, maybe we can have somebody figure out that the comet is basically sending down like nanobots, and these nanobots are using the radio towers and catching rides on the radio waves. Like it's just a way to like propel them to another place and then spreading that way. So they realize they have to take out the radio towers. And by taking out the radio towers, it stops the attack. And then you could have it to where it's kind of coming down to the last minute, where the toy truck is barreling down on the characters that we have left that are just emptying rounds and rounds into it, just as like Bill's up there and causes the tower to fall or cuts the power off, just whatever it is. And then the truck just stops short and it can no longer move because the nanobots can't transmit their signals. Just, it doesn't even have to be that, but just something towards the end where they accomplish something that stops the threat. It doesn't have to be globally. It could just be their threat instead of just blowing it up with another rocket.
Okay. I'm with you on all that. That cleans up a lot of the mess of the movie. Go ahead.
Other thing, stop calling everyone Bubba, because it's confusing as fuck. Hendershot's first name, I believe, is Bubba, because his license plate says Bubba, but he also is constantly calling other people Bubba. At first, I thought Bill was Bubba. because he calls him Bubba, and like it doesn't make any sense. So just knock it off.
That's just a very Southern thing, is all that is. That would be no different than if we were watching a surfer movie and everyone was calling everyone dude.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I mean, like I just thought Bubba was somebody's name. So yeah. But other than that, and like you don't have to change the ending necessarily. But I definitely would want to do the other things.
Okay. I would go in a slightly different direction than you. But I think a lot of what we're both looking to do is kind of unify the code of operation in this thing. I think I think it's fine that the movie tells us in the beginning that we're about to pass through the tail of this comet, because I think in our reality, if something like that was going to happen, if we were going to pass through the tail of a comet, we would be given forewarning on the media for months in advance, if not longer, because we hear about, there's an asteroid that's going to crash into Earth in 2 years if we don't do something about it. So I think the idea of Earth passing through a comet's tail wouldn't be a secret thing that they had to unravel. That part in and of itself would most likely be a known quantity. This is the day they said we were going to pass through the comet. And then, obviously everybody's going to tie the machines going crazy into that fact because of timing.
Right. But makes sense.
But that they know that the comet thing is happening is fine by me. And that they tell us just with that briefing, instead of like, we start out with somebody watching a news broadcast and go, today's the big day. We can't wait to see what happens. Scientists all over the world are going, crazy. It's never happened before, whatever. I want to relocate them slightly. There's a couple different options, but I want to put them either on an island or a peninsula, where there's limited escape areas. Because the main thing I want to do, I think, is make the machines way less coordinated, way less structured with their attacks. I want them to be a little more chaotic and a little less organized army for this movie to work. And while the humans know that we're going to pass through the tail of the comet in 6 days or whatever it is, and maybe it's a waiting game, but maybe this is fundamentally a permanent change. They don't know that. Like, there's no way for them to determine that. So they have to fight during this period of time, because they can't just decide to hide and then hopefully when we reappear in 6 days, everything is golden, Right. So they're fighting, they're stuck. There's maybe a couple trucks that can block their exit, but like the trucks aren't as organized, and the machinery is just crazy everywhere, and anything electric is fair game, and anything with a motor is fair game. And that's how the movie plays out for the most part, because then, just like this movie is already, you just wind up basically with Assault on Precinct 13, which is these people have to hunker down and survive, hoping that there's like a final wave that they survive and then it's over. And that way you can build up the pressure funnel the whole time, so that the ending becomes more of a release valve, because they finally find out that, sure, once we get to the 6th day or whatever it is, everything went back to the way it was, because they don't know until that happens that will happen. And then after that, it's just small little things, deciding on the power scaling of these vehicles and machines and things like that. Like, like the carving knife was able to walk essentially. That's a lot of power scaling there, but so we have to have a definitive, okay, the object or whatever is capable of doing the things it would always be capable of doing. It's just doing them on its own. Like, we're not going to get into like a Final Destination where it sets up a big Rube Goldberg trap all on its own, and all of a sudden all these weird things are happening.
Right, like the lawnmower is just mowing the lawn with no specific direction.
Right.
So yeah.
Right, and the lawnmower can't suddenly jump up in the air so that the blade catches you in the face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they don't develop superpowers. They're just being controlled in a different manner than they would normally be controlled. Yeah. Other than that, because then the ending can just be, okay, it seems like outside of the tail of the comet, as far as we know, that's it. We went, whatever magnetic resonance was happening inside the tail of the comet is gone now, and everything's back to the way it was. And then maybe as we're leaving, we see like a light switch shuts off on its own and the whole screen goes dark. So like,
I like that.
You get that little ending there, and then that's it. And then some more AC/DC plays, Back in Black plays, and that's it.
That's perfect. that is the absolute perfect way to end this movie.
So that's what I would do to fix it up a little bit, and you can still keep it pretty ridiculous within those confines, and just keep it a little less all over the place.
Yeah.
Do you want to play How Do You Survive the Trucks?
Well, I will mention one thing.
Yeah.
We always complain, like, how do you survive? You leave. You just get up and leave.
Yeah.
You go.
Yeah.
And while it took them a little bit, they did it.
They finally did.
they did leave. And not only did they leave, usually when someone has a plan, there's always one person that's kind of like, oh, here we go. Like, right. I hope you know what. No, everyone was on board.
Yeah.
So while, yes, they did react late, they still did what we say they should do in every horror movie. Just leave where the trouble is and go somewhere else. And his plan was, I know this place where there's no cars allowed. You still need boats to get there. And that's a whole nother thing. But just assuming that boats can't hurt you, this is the perfect plan. If I didn't know that and it's just me that's experiencing this, I'm going into the deepest wooded area that I can find. Then your only problem is planes. And as long as you're not lighting fires to give away your position, no one's going to know you're there.
Yeah, that is a good point in this movie. There wasn't really, besides personality wise, there wasn't really a lot of dissension in the plans of what they were going to do as a group. There was arguments because this guy's an asshole and this guy's not an asshole, or this guy has guns and this guy doesn't. But there wasn't a general. Usually in a movie like this, you would have at least one person who would just be like, no, it's not the comet. This is just something else happening, and we can't fight at this. You know what I mean? Like, there would be this one person who just doesn't agree with the reality that everyone else is living in. And no, they were all pretty much just like, yeah, we got to band together and we got to figure this out.
Yeah.
Which is a little unusual for this sort of movie. You're right. You're absolutely right. And I didn't think about that before. So if you're the trucks, do you do anything differently?
You just stop stopping at trucks. Just take over everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they need the gas, but at the same time, they wasted all of their gas just surrounding them for a day. So waste the rest of the gas. You control the pumps, start sending the gas through, and then start sending electricity out of the building. Like, you can jump out of the machine to kill people. You can definitely shoot it from wherever else you want to shoot it from. So just blow the whole damn place up. If your goal is to kill people, kill them. Stop toying with them. It's not like this group of people has been determined to be the best ones fit to help us survive, and we're going to use them and keep them alive so we can constantly get gas. Just, take over everything and kill everyone. They had the ability to ram the building from day one, but they were just doing a little walk around the building until they got tired. Just run into the building. They'll come out. Set it on fire like you did. I think they sent the oxygen tanker in, right? That caused the explosion.
Yeah.
So yeah, do that from day one. Just kill the people, and they'll stop blowing you up because they're dead. And instead of doing that, they just kind of toyed with people, which caused some casualties on their side.
So, yeah, I'm with you. And if I'm the trucks or whatever we're doing here, I mean, the fact of the matter is there are 300 or 400 military installations in the U.S.
Yeah.
All of which, depending on which military we're talking about, either have some sort of armament, tanks, jets, whatever it might be. Why am I taking over big cargo rigs and not just sending in tanks? If I want to mow these humans down, I'm going to send a line of tanks and I'm just going to bomb them. Like, you know, in this day and age, it would be drone strikes everywhere. But at that point, I send a couple F-14s on a couple sorties. They drop a couple bombs, and this whole movie is 9-10 minutes long tops before anybody figures out that the comet took over the machines. But they're over there taking over big rigs that had terrible gas mileage, have no, like, the whole back of the truck is eggshell, basically. If it gets dented, it gets broken. There's no security in them, and there was no plan. These are the worst, most disorganized trucks I've ever seen. F-.
Yeah.
Well, that's our bloody take on this movie. If you have anything you'd like to contribute to the conversation, you can find us at all the socials. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, Blue Sky, and Twitter. It's One Bloody Take, all one word. And we are at TikTok, _bloody_take. You can find the podcast anywhere you get podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Substack. Just search us out, One Bloody Take. We're there, and we drop a new episode every Wednesday. Join us next week when we discuss 1987's The Video Dead. I'm Paul.
And I'm Russ.
And thanks for listening to our Bloody Take.